Good afternoon. My name is Stefano Albertini. I'm the director of Casa Italiana, Zerilli-Marimò, here at New York University. Welcome, Minister Tajani, Ambassador Zappia, Archbishop Nuncius Caccia, Consul General Di Michele, distinguished members of the Minister's delegation, and allow me here to name one for all, who is Minister Francesco Maria Genuardi, that we all know very well as former Consul General here in New York, as a good friend of this place. So welcome to New York University and welcome to the Casa. Welcome to the students, professors, and administrators of New York University and other neighboring universities that have accepted our invitation to come and meet Minister Tajani, listen to his remarks, and possibly interact with him on topics ranging from international education to the growing opportunities that Italy offers to students from all over the world. These very brief remarks will be divided into two parts. The first part in Italian, in which I will welcome the Minister and his delegation by saying a few things about this place and the people that are here in the audience today. In the second part, we'll go back to English and I will briefly introduce Minister Tajani. I remind you that at the end of the Minister remarks, there will be a Q&A and invite you to remain for that. And if you have questions, please prepare them and be ready to ask them. For the friends who are upstairs in the library, in the overflow room, and I believe there are about 40 people upstairs, if you want to come down for the Q&A, feel free to do so. Maybe there's going to be a little exchange of places. And for the Q&A, I invite you to remain within us. Make sure that the questions you have are brief, clear, and on topic. And that's the professor in me speaking. Ministro Tajani, lei e la sua delegazione avete da poco varcato la soglia non solo di un'istituzione, questa dedicata alla promozione della cultura, della lingua italiana e del dialogo fra l'Italia e gli Stati Uniti, ma anche di una delle più grandi università private d'America e quella che da 30 anni a questa parte ha sviluppato in maniera più sistematica e capillare la sua vocazione globale e internazionale. La rete globale di NYU consiste di 3 campus principali, New York, Abu Dhabi e Shanghai, che sono università che concedono titoli di studio, per cui uno può iniziare ad Abu Dhabi e finire ad Abu Dhabi, o a Shanghai o qui. E 12 siti sono Accra, Berlino, Buenos Aires, Firenze, Londra, Los Angeles, che non è all'estero, Madrid, Parigi, Praga, Sydney, Tel Aviv e Washington. Ambasciatrice Zappia, anche Washington la mettiamo fra i siti un po' all'estero rispetto a New York. E qui nel Greenwich Village ci sono case come questa, che sono finestre spalancate su paesi e culture che permettono ai nostri studenti di continuare la loro formazione internazionale anche una volta rientrati. L'Italia, grazie alla generosità e alla lungimiranza di 2 benefattori illuminati, la baronessa Zerilli e Sir Harold Acton, è forse il paese meglio rappresentato in questa galassia. Grazie a questa Casa Italiana Zerilli-Marimò, attiva dal 1990, e dal 1994 Villa La Pietra Firenze, la maggiore donazione mai ricevuta da un ateneo americano. Oggi, signor Ministro, hanno accolto il nostro invito e sono qui ad ascoltarla gli studenti, i ricercatori e i professori italiani a New York e dintorni, gli studenti di tutte le nazionalità del nostro Italian Club, i responsabili dei programmi in Italia di alcune delle università della nostra area e non solo, e gli alumni, ex allievi di alcune prestigiose università italiane attive a New York, che è il suo pubblico oggi. Dear friends and colleagues, just a few words to introduce the Minister. After serving as an officer in the Air Force, Antonio Tajani worked as a professional journalist and war correspondent for some of the major Italian publications. A founding member of the Forza Italia party, his political career developed mostly in Brussels, within the European institutions where he served in many capacities, including Commissioner for Transportations and Commissioner for Industrial and Productive Activities, and also as Chairman of the European Parliament. After the last elections of September 2022, he returned to serve in the Italian Republic, and always with a keen interest in what happens in Europe and the rest of the world, given the position that he has. So please welcome the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Italian Republic, Antonio Tajani.
Grazie mille per l'invito, per le belle parole, signore e signori autorità, Dear students, thank you very much for hosting me today here in this university. I am Italian, I am proud to be Italian. I have a son and a daughter. I am also grandfather, one young man, 10 mouths. Italy is an extraordinary country. Why? Because it's a country open for everybody. It's easier to stay in Italy. The Italians are very open. Hospitality for us is a priority. It's easier to be friend of an Italian. It's good to stay for the climate in Italy. Without covercoat it's possible to stay for this. But my country, Italy, is an ancient country with a big heritage. More or less 80% of the cultural human heritage is in Italy. The UNESCO underlined this position. I think it's very interesting for a young student coming from Europe, coming from America, coming from Asia, to study in Italy. Because, of course, it's possible to study, I will talk also on this, but I think it's important for, if you want to open your mentality from the north to the south, it's possible to travel and to know many citizens. As I said, everybody in Italy is very open. Our heritage also is our Christian heritage, but it's not a conventional position, it's our history. To visit the Vatican, to visit every church, there are very important messages at cultural level from Raffaello, from Giotto, from the most important artists in the world, in the history of the world. But this is not only an Italian heritage. It's an heritage for everybody. Because Raffaello, of course, is Italian. Leonardo da Vinci is Italian. Michelangelo is Italian. But the heritage of these people, Verdi, is Italian, but the heritage is a global heritage, it's an heritage for everybody, it's your heritage. Because I think we need to be open. To study in Italy is an extraordinary opportunity because it's possible to study also outside the universities. Because everywhere there is a cultural message. There is a message for your education, not formal but informal. Every also small town is an important town for cultural heritage. There are different histories. Goethe, a German important traveler, in this text said, describe a lot of Italian small countries. But in the same time, I think it's important to study in our universities. It's possible to study also in English. There are a lot of universities with lessons in English at economic level, but not only. There are a lot of universities in my country, and I think education and research are very, very important. There are a lot of Italian researchers. This is crucial for us. The problem is the day after the end of the studies, because we need to strengthen the cooperation between university and industry. But there are a lot of young Italian researchers living here in America. It's an opportunity to study in Italy and then to stay in America. But we want to call back the Italians. The problem are the jobs, but we need, I know, here it's possible to have more money than in Italy. But I think it's important, there are high-level university. I studied in La Sapienza, one of the most important university, not only because I studied in La Sapienza in Rome, but it's an old university. There are the fantastic university for the foreigners also in Perugia. Perugia is not a big town, but is very important for the students coming from abroad. This university for foreigners is very, very important. It's a very good university. In many, many sectors, there are very, very good professors. Bocconi is a super university, fantastic. I don't know if there are many students coming from Bocconi. Bologna. In Bologna, there are very good universities. There are also very important Catholic universities in Milan, in Rome, in many, many sectors. Also, in the sport, there is, first of all, only one university over the top. It's a For Italico University. It's the best university for the science of sport. This is paving the way for a new manager also in the sports sector. I think it's the future for many young people. Also, it's possible to study for health. There are also important universities in the south of my country, Naples, for example. Exactly, c'è qualche napoletano qua. It's important to study law because the large part of the lawyers is coming from the south of my country. If you like law, it's better to go to the south for studying law. Also, I think it's possible to organize stages in the companies. It's possible to do it for paving the way for more jobs in the future. The research, it's possible to work in the research. There is an important institute, CNR. It's important also to study also with the soldiers, with army. There are very good academy for Air Force in Pozzuoli, for the army in Modena. There are also academy for Navy in Livorno. There is also Guardia di Finanza police working in the finance sector in Bergamo for 2 years. But if you study there are also programs for non-Italian students. There are agreements with different countries for students coming from abroad, but it's not open for everybody, but there are the agreements for many students coming, soldiers coming from different countries. What we want to do for increasing the number of students coming from abroad? There is a program, first of all, for students coming from Africa, from Mediterranean region. We want to have more students coming from these countries, because to know Italian, to study in Italy, is for our future to have more friends in other countries. It's also important for us to work for growth in Africa, against illegal immigration, against poverty, against climate change. For this, we want to have more students coming from abroad in our universities. But of course, also people coming from America. America, United States are our best friend in the world. And we want to strengthen the transatlantic relations. It's possible to do it also through the friendship between universities. In Europe, there is this program Erasmus for young students. It's possible to study 1 year in other universities for education, also to study different languages. Also, no. No, proprio la tosse, indipendentemente dall'acqua. There are a lot of possibilities for young people in Italy. Also, there are very good professors. There are also good schools in the kitchen sector. It's the new education. We want to invest more in the university in the next years. And we want to have every time more and more students coming from abroad. It's also important for us to have more Italian students in other countries, to study English, to study French, to study Spanish. Is important because to know different languages is important for good relations. If we want to be diplomat, we need to know many languages. Also, if we want to be politicians, the politicians are not very good interpreters. Well, Italy is an opportunity. The Minister for University will be in the United States in the next month for paving the way for new and stronger relations everywhere. Why? It's important also to study Italian. Of course, Italian is not English, is not Spanish, but to study Italian is an opportunity for reading the most important books. To read Dante Alighieri in Italian is not the same to read Dante Alighieri in another language. To hear the word of opera, Opera Verdi, Puccini, it's easier to understand in Italian. I remember during my speech in Germany, two people, please speak in Italian. Why? Because we understand more or less, but it's very good language. We like Italian. Also for the music, it's good to go to Sanremo, but I think for the education is crucial. I want to be serious now. To study in Italy is an opportunity for your education, because I think it's possible to know many content in different sectors. Also, if you study, you want to be engineer, to study Raffaello, to study Michelangelo, is good for strengthening your education, because the education is not only what you study, it's also what you want to have with you. It's good for when you will have a family, to explain to your son, to your daughter, your cultural heritage. And also, there are a lot of people coming from Europe here, a lot of people coming from Italy, a lot of people coming also from Greece. There is also a Greek heritage in Italy, in the south. It's possible also to know this Greek heritage. For this, Italy is particularly. Italy is open. Italy is not only the country of the Italians. Italy is a country, is a global country. It's a country for everybody. Everybody is a special guest in Italy. It's possible to talk on the kitchen, of course, on the football also. It's possible also to go to the stadium, if you want. The discotheque also. But for a minister, it's important to be serious. But I think Italy is an opportunity. I speak to you as I speak with my daughter and my son. She's a psychologist. My son has been a football player. Now he's working in soccer organization. But I'm ready for questions. But please, pay attention. Italy is important for your education. To travel is important for everybody. Creo que muchos entienden el español. Decía Cervantes, el que lee mucho, el que anda mucho, sabe mucho y ve mucho. For this is important. To travel in Italy is saber mucho, because the content of your country is very, very important. Follow me in Italy. I go back the day after tomorrow, if you want. For a short trip, then it's possible to know at the university and to stay in Italy, and then to be an ambassador of Italy in your country. Thank you.
We thank the Minister for these remarks that he expressed freely from his heart, and we appreciate the fact that you, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, accepted an invitation to come to a university to talk about university and international education.
But I want to speak with the student as a father, not as a minister. It's better, no?
While we were coming downstairs, he told me, I'm not the minister of the university. And he wanted to make that clear. And we appreciate that. You're the Minister of Foreign Affairs speaking to a university crowd. After this appointment with us, the minister is going to go to the UN, where he will have the central part of his mission here, that is to talk to the General Assembly in regard to the war in the Ukraine. And I think what you said here is connected to what you will say after. It is through education and international understanding that starts happening in the classrooms that we can avoid what happened in Russia. First question, and then I open the floor to the audience, obviously. And I would try to have...
Then if you want to open a restaurant, Italian restaurant, it's good, also in New York.
Minister, one of the problems, one of the things that we see, there are 50, 60 American universities in Italy. Some important and some substantive, like John Cabot, NYU is a big program, Syracuse, many. My impression is that our students, when they are in Italy, studying in our campuses there, they're very happy. They love the country, they come back, they're in love, they want to study more. But they almost never get in contact with the Italian universities. And of course, I'm not asking you for a solution. You said you're not the Minister of Education. And I think it's also something that
we need to do it. We need to strengthen the cooperation between universities. Of course, it's important to increase the number of the initiative, common initiative between different universities. English in English and Italian between American university, Italian university. It's possible to do more on this, but it's an organization problem. It's possible to. I think I will talk with my colleague, but in Italy, every university is free. Is totally free. It's not under only for the rules. There is the ministry, but every university is totally free for this.
When it comes to
respect
academic
the
decisions,
programs, but
they're autonomous.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that's something that both sides, because I think the responsibilities are also of us, the Americans, that come there and cultivate our little garden of students, forgetting to open the gates and letting them interact more with the Italian university. So I think also for the colleagues that are here, that are responsible for programs in Italy of their institution, if they have any feedback specific to this issue, the interaction between American universities and Italian universities. What's your experience, and if you have anything you would like to say about this? Yes, Dean Tamburi.
The challenge the minister raised, and that is, he raised it a little bit last night and also here, and that is our students don't know as many of our students don't know Italian as many of the Italians know English when they come here. So through our CUNY Italy, we have a CUNY Italy exchange where students individually go over to about 5 universities, and then they come to the City University of New York. And usually the Italian students are better versed linguistically than the ones we send over, but we're always looking for the classes that are taught in English in the Italian universities, and that's one of the major challenges.
And it's growing, right?
It is growing. It is growing. There are many more courses. You know, we have five or six agreements. The 2 major ones are with Roma Tre and with Perugia Stranieri, and so they're
In Luis there are also English.
and also Luis, right? He
Also, I think in Sapienza also.
Yeah.
In many universities.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
possible
And
to
so-
study in
and-
English.
And that has changed for the good. It's changed dramatically over the last decade or 15 years. But it is the linguistic challenge sometimes. Yeah.
Anybody else? Yes.
Hi, Libby Perkowski from.
Can we have a microphone for?
I can speak loudly.
No. We need to read. There is a live streaming, so we want our friends at home to be able to hear what you have to say. Maybe introduce
Where you come
yourself
from?
and then ask your question.
Where do you come from?
Hi, my name is Libby Perkowski. I work in the Office of Global Programs here in New York, and so we actually oversee our campus in New York, NYU Florence. And I think one of the challenges, in addition to the language barrier that our students sometimes encounter, is that we do try to get our students to interact with local students as much as possible, but the university calendars in Florence are very different from the calendar that we use. And so we try to have agreements where maybe our students can sit in on a class at University of Florence, for example, but because the calendars and the examination schedule don't align, there are very, limited opportunities for this. Sometimes students maybe need to stay later, past the end of the semester to finish that class. So that is one area.
No,
that
this is
we're
a
having
concrete
challenges.
problem. That we have.
Thank you.
We need to study a solution. We need to I want to talk with my colleague because I don't know if there are agreements, but it's possible to sign agreements also for helping the students. Also the timing, the different organizations are a problem. For this, I think we need to do more. We need to. I think it's crucial to increase the number of Italian students going to America and the Americans going to Italy. Because, as I said, as Cervantes, to know different countries, but America is the most important country in the world. For an Italian student, it's important to know the most important country in the world. It's also for its education, but not only for studying, but also for a mentality, no? To have an open mentality for a young man, for a young woman is important. Education is not only the book. Education is much more. For this, also to study in Italy is important for the education, as I said, to go after the lesson, to go to St. Peter or to go, I don't know, Colosseum, is important for your personal education. Because education is not only education for a job. It's education for everybody, for being a woman or for being a man. We need to have more than 30, 40 books. And for this it's important to know to travel. This short phrases of the Cervantes, for me, is crucial. Because it's a message to read and to travel. It's fundamental. If possible, to organize travel for children, I think is a good choice because it's paved the way for a good education. Because I think the university is not only for students, it's also we need to build men and women with values, with ideas, open people. This is, I think, for me, is important. To be free is to have many, many ideas. To be free is a choice. For this, I think it's important to know not only what we study. I studied law. But I think for me it's important also to know other sectors, other matters, I think. For this, you have totally right. I want to talk with my colleague. I don't know if there are agreements, probably yes. But we need to do more, because if you underline this problem, there is a problem for this.
Maybe
we need to achieve a solution.
You can extend an invitation to your colleague, the Minister of University and Research, when she comes here, he comes here, to come and have a talk with us, that it could be more technical.
The ambassador will organize a debate with she speaks English very well. She's a nice person. She's professor at the university. Anna Maria Bernini, she's a nice person, a woman, very strong.
And she might have technical answers to these questions.
Yes, of course.
More questions? Yes, Sal Salibello of John Cabot University, the American University in Rome.
Your Excellency, I'm curious to understand, does Italy going to increase their collaboration with American universities to increase and help facilitate U.S. students studying abroad? I don't know if you're familiar with the John Cabot University, but we're in Trastevere, and we have approximately 1,800 students, of which 900 come for a semester abroad. So we're very active in this program. But I'm wondering if there's anything you're going to do with expanding relationships with American universities, and possibly when this woman or man comes from the education department, a lady, would be interesting to get to know her a little bit. Thank you.
John Cabot is a very important university in Rome. For this, I think but we need to strengthen the cooperation, because we need to travel, we need to be open. to study is not to have an education. To have an education is much more.
I agree. I went to Italy the first time in 1955 by ship. I can recount the entire 3 months that I was there. It had a big impact on my life. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Sal. There's a question here, Ms. Capriati, and then back there, if you don't mind, then running to the opposite side of the room.
When I came to this country on a Fulbright scholarship years ago in Boston, I spent 2 months ahead of starting university staying with an American family. It was a very good way for me to improve my English, to get to know the American way of life, and to make American friends. And I remained friends with that family for a long time. Then I went back to Italy and I taught at the Tyler School of Art of Temple University abroad in Lungotevere Arnaldo da Brescia that you probably know. So we tried to make the same experiment with the students. We offered Italian families in Rome. We were paying the families to host the student even for a short time. It was not possible to find any family who would accept an American student in their home. That tells you something.
But there are agreements. È stata un po' sfortunata.
Caro Ministro, in italiano o in inglese?
Come vuoi.
Ok. Caro Ministro, lei giustamente ha parlato dei giovani e come il nostro paese sia un paese ricco di storia, come infatti su quello sono molto d'accordo con lei e sono anche d'accordo con lei che sia molto molto importante studiare nel nostro paese. Però bisogna anche dire che in Italia uno purtroppo dei problemi che abbiamo è che i giovani, una volta finito l'università, vengano un po' sfruttati dalle aziende o comunque se vengono assunti fanno ore, tipo iniziano la mattina e escono tipo a mezzanotte per magari stipendi che sono tipo 400-500 euro, quindi volevo chiederle, lei come Ministro, come vorrebbe indirizzare questo problema e come vorrebbe far sì che magari i giovani vengano più portati nel mondo del lavoro una volta finito l'università, ecco.
Thank you. Then there is a question back there.
Ah, sì, prego. Poi ti rispondo.
Sì, sì, prego, lei risponde pure, Ministro.
La domanda?
No, risponda lui, intanto facciamo arrivare il microfono a quella.
Ah, no, ce l'ha, anche l'altro. Lui ce l'ha arrivato.
Però lo mandi tu? Ok, poi lo passiamo là in fondo. Prego.
Rispondo. Allora, l'ho detto dall'inizio, manca intanto un forte collegamento tra università e industria. In parte c'è, ma non è soddisfacente. Bisogna agevolare l'assunzione di giovani. Già nell'ultima legge finanziaria, nonostante le ristrettezze, si è cercato di abbattere il costo del lavoro per favorire l'ingresso dei giovani nelle imprese. Bisogna abbattere, l'obiettivo è quello di abbatterlo totalmente, adesso c'è stata già una decontribuzione alta, perché noi dobbiamo avere anche giovani preparati che poi rappresentano il nostro futuro in un paese dove ci sono 4 milioni di piccole e medie imprese. Io, per quanto riguarda, cioè quello che penso io, poi non so se si potrà fare, credo molto nella formazione duale, non l'alternanza scuola-lavoro che è una presa in giro. Il sistema duale è un vero lavoro dentro un'azienda che poi ti assume quando finisci. Io ricordo, sono andato in Austria, all'acciaieria, a Linz, e ho visto un ragazzo giovanissimo che già stava davanti al computer e controllava l'acciaio, come si chiamano, i rotoli d'acciaio, e gli ho chiesto come mai era già così, si vedeva che aveva un incarico di responsabilità, e dice no, ma io ho fatto 2 anni di scuola qui e poi sono 2 anni che sto qua, quindi sono già un tecnico avanzato. Questo è quello che secondo me bisogna fare di più. Io credo che nelle nostre scuole, nelle nostre università ci sia un problema di lingue. We need to study more English in Italy, at school, at the university also, but English is crucial, but we need also the content. To speak in English without content is very stupid. Also in Italian without content, but I think we need to study also, to have the content. The content is not only books, is education, for this is important. Also the work of the professors in everywhere in Italy. But education is not simple. We start when we are very super young, and to build a man or a woman is not easy. But I think it's an extraordinary history to be father or to be mother, to be teacher. Because build a man or build a woman is, I think, for me, a priority in this society. Because we need, because the situation is not easy there, look at Ukraine, but before the crisis of coronavirus and before the crisis of Lehman Brothers, 3 crises in 15 years. We need strong people if we want to beat the difficulties. This is important, the education. To study is important, but also to explain to the young generations the importance of the values. Money is not, as an instrument, is not a value. If you want to be an entrepreneur, your job is to have a lot of money or to create a lot of jobs. I think for a good entrepreneurs, it's much better to create a lot of jobs, not to have a lot of money. I'm not against the money, but I think the money is an instrument. For this, we need to work with values. For this, an entrepreneur is a man or a woman building jobs, not only building money.
Question there and then back there. And then
Hi, my name is William Liani. I represent
Italian.
the Sapienza University here. So we are going to open the chapter
Viva la
in New
Sapienza.
York, and plus also Lewis University. So the
Both.
alumni both, yes. So I'm an engineer, and plus I have an MBA in Lewis. So I know, so I'm a bad guy so for that. I know, that's bad. So my question is, because we are trying to connect all the different alumni of the different university, what do you think that could be useful or not, an interconnection with the government, with the university, the Italian university and the American university and the alumni? Because as you know, the alumni of the American university are structured that is more helpful for the people that are coming out in order to see what's going on after. So also by connecting to the other person that was talking about after studying, maybe the alumni and the government and the different university can work. So do you have any ideas or maybe something that you have experienced somewhere else that can be useful?
It's a good
Thanks.
network. The network of alumni in English, alumni in Latin. I think it's a good idea to have a network with Italian students in America and American students in Italy. This network is important because you will have, during your life, many friends with many contacts with a similar education. Talking also Italian or talking in English. This is better because if you talk in the language of your friend, it's better, no? It's also a positive message. If you speak in American, if you speak in American with an American, it's a positive message I open my heart. It's not only a translation. If an American speaks with you in Italian, he opens his heart. It's friendship, a message of friendship. It's not only a message as a translator or an interpreter. But this, I think, also the languages are important for the friendship. I agree. We need to study this history of the Alumni Network, Italian students in America and American students in Italy. We need to study. Bernini will work hard in the next days.
Hi. I know that you're a proponent of the Erasmus program as a means by which to promote globalization in Italy, or not necessarily.
To promote?
To promote like a sense of global, like a academic force in Italy, and to promote Italy as a hub of intellectual life. My problem with that is that my family is from Bulgaria, which, for lack of a better word, has sort of just become the ragtag makings of a country, and the many of the people with whom my family grew up have either emigrated for work purposes or for better academic opportunities. And so what I ask is, to what extent does this sort of sense of like global attraction within academia in Italy usurp the sort of like a more steady promotion of academic values across Europe, and I guess really what do you think can be done to sort of level the playing field a bit more?
If you are Bulgarian, you are European, and I think this is an opportunity. Also, it's possible to organize trilateral groups. There is Erasmus among the European Union. If you are a student in Italy, for you it's possible also to go to study to Bulgaria if you want. If there are many opportunities. But I think it's also to have contact with, also in the Perugia University, there are a lot of young students coming from everywhere. And to strengthen this cooperation is important. Also in Florence there is this European University with people coming from many different countries, also from America, from China, from Taiwan, from South America, from Europe. I think education is to open, to have a super overview. For this, every initiative in favor of this is important. But I think it's important also in the beginning to have an identity. We need to know if you are an European, if you are an American, if you are a Japanese, if you are a Chinese, if you are... Because for me the identity is a key for open a dialogue with the other people. I am Italian. My education is in Italian education. I know, unfortunately not very young, but I know my identity, I know my heritage. I know where I come from. But this identity, for me, is an instrument for being more open. Because to be open is to understand the others and to be flexible with the others. but it's important never change our identity. But to be open is important, to be flexible is important, to understand the others is very important. But if you don't have an identity, it's difficult to understand the others. Without an identity, we close the door. With an identity, we open the door. For this, also the education is important, because the education is crucial also for being free. It's not my job. My job is to build a man, but cultural level is to explain what is to be Italian, what is to be European, but finally his choice is his choice, not my choice. If you want to be psychologist, if you want to be engineer, if you want to be football player, if you want to be his choice, lawyer is his choice. My job is to build. I underline build because the construction is not easy. It's a work day by day. When you will be father, you will start from the first day. To build a woman or a man is not easy. But finally, if you have a man or a daughter, or a daughter, a son, a daughter, you are happy because your job is. And then if this young man, this young woman is free, is able to decide what he wants to do, you are an happy man, an happy father, or an happy mother. I am father, I'm not mother, but I am an happy father because my daughter and my son are totally free. They decide what they want to do. This is very, very important. Good luck. But I think I am very happy for this debate we do because I think, as I said, I'm not speaking as a minister. It's less important. It's more important to speak as father.
One more question. They tell me that the minister has to leave. Back there, one of the two students.
I have to go to the United Nations. Yes.
Hi. Hello.
Yes, one more question.
Hi. Hi, I'm Samantha.
50 Italian, 50 American, I remember, yes.
Yes, I'm half Italian.
The question 50 in Italian, 50 in American.
Io provo, mi scusi. So yeah, I am a student at NYU. I'm studying Italian as my minor. I'm also the president of the Italian Club, and here we have a bunch of cultural events. We go to Cima, and we also have a conversation club to help improve those from any levels, from novice to advanced. And I had a question for you about how do you plan to streamline...
Not too much difficult, please.
Very, very briefly.
Not difficult, easy.
How do you plan to make the process easier for American students who don't have European citizenship to study in Italy?
Don't have? Sorry.
European citizenship to study in Italy, or financial means to study.
No, it's possible. If you are American, it's possible to study in Italy. There are also, but there are a lot of organizations paving the way for American students. There are agreements with the university. It's possible to have. This is better with the small university or American university. John Cabot, there is a very good organization in John Cabot. It's possible to stay in Italy. But our rules are not too much strict for the students coming from abroad. But there are also good agencies working on this. It's possible to do.
Will there be any scholarship opportunities for students who want to study in Italy?
Yes, there are a lot of opportunities for jobs. It's possible to do more, but there are also opportunities. If you like Italy, it's possible to work. We need, in this moment, we need more engineers. There are, in this sector, in technical sector, we need more students. We need more people in this sector. Engineers, first of all. Not lawyers, not. Medicines, yes. Medicines now, yes, more. Lawyers, there are a lot.
Okay.
For this, I am a politician.
Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. Thank you again to all of you for having been here with us, and to the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, who has talked to us today as a father with concerns for children. Thank
It's
you very much for being
most important
here.
to be father than minister.
We agree with that. Thank you, Minister. Good luck with your next step.
Thank you very much.